Hi folks, today we're going to be installing this battery all the way out to lights. Let me go over through that real quick. So what we're going to do today is we're going to install a self-build night light kit with two 18-watt LED lights. We're going to start with the battery in our bottle cage, a Y connector with master switch, clamps, lights, connect the leads, tie it all up with Velcro strips, and we'll be good to go. So the first thing I want to show is our bottle can. I have a 3000 milliamp 12 volt battery inside this can. We've wrapped it in a cloth to make sure that there's no jiggle, and that warmth will be retained by the cloth as the battery runs during the winter. I do plan to winter fat bike. We drilled a hole in the top. I will putty that a little bit later. So the first thing we want to do is drop our can into the bottle cage. And we've now installed our battery. The next step is our Y connector. This is a standard SAE connector. We have a polarity switcher here, so our red stay red and our black stay black. Bottom of our Y connector, we've installed a master switch, and we have our two leads. So what this master switch will do is it'll allow us to keep the battery on. It hardly draws any power while it is turned on, but isn't drawing any energy. So we can turn this on and off while we're on our ride, save battery, and go a little bit longer. Let's connect that. Using this SAE ends makes these connections very easy. Simply just plug them into the joint. We now have a switch connected, and we have our leads. So next we're going to talk about the clamp and then the headlights. All right, so the first thing we have here is the clamp. This is a 1 1/4 inch clamp. It's going to go around the handlebars. It's going to sit like this with the light on top. It has a plastic insert to protect metal on metal so you don't scratch up your handlebars. And it is a spacer. And we have a tongue and groove clamp so you don't have to take off your grips or your brake levers or dropper post levers. So great. So we have our bolt. This has a nut so that this can move back and forth on the handlebars. And this will look like it's upside down, but it's just because I need to be able to hold it while I put the bolt in to demonstrate. So we're going to put our bolt through the clamp, up into that nut, get it started. I did have to cut about 2 millimeters off the bolt, so it's a little finicky to start. There we go. All right, so as you can see, this can slide back and forth. It means you can move your light from left to right and try to get the right distance. Sorry if things dip below the screen. I'm trying to grab tools and those types of things. So we're going to snug this down. And in this case, I want it all the way to the left on the light to move the light as far right as possible. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount these lights onto the handlebars. So we have our plastic, and we have our clamp, and we have a bolt. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put the plastic on the handlebars. We want to drop our lead in the front. Lay the top part on the plastic. We're going to take our bracket and put it into the tongue and groove. We're going to drop our bolt. Try to get that started with our fingers so we're not cross-threading anything. You do want to make sure you're lining up the plastic and the tongue and groove. And you want to try to set them as far apart on your handlebars as you can. That will allow them to tighten down. So we're going to cinch this, and I'm going to move this out a little bit. Looks like we have a little bit more room. I'm just going to loosen this. The up-down is going to take a little bit of experimentation to figure out exactly what the proper angle is for my lighting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these about 1 finger on each side. There we go. Again, we're going to tweak these afterwards, but just for this video, we'll get them, you know, kind of in place, looking pretty good. And then we'll fine-tune them later. All right, that's snug. So this light, we've already put the bracket on just to save some time. We have our tongue and groove, and we're going to install the second light. All right, those looking pretty even. Again, we'll adjust the up and down a little bit later. Get that just slightly snugged. Excellent. All right, so we have our 2 lights mounted. Again, we can adjust these in and out. We can adjust them up and down. And we need to take our leads. So with these leads, we're going to put them in front of the bars. We're going to loop them around once to take up some of the slack, but not all of the slack, because sometimes we crash and we don't want to yank all of our wiring off. So like your shifters and dropper cables, brakes, we want a little bit of slack for our crashes. We're going to plug the SAEs in. So there's that side. So again, we're going to pull this lead. We're going to go to the inside here, and we're going to connect to our lead. Excellent. All right. Next step is we are going to Velcro down these wires on the down tube to ensure that we don't get any snags right here. So we have 6-inch Velcro ties. My down tube diameter is more than 6 inches, so we just double up. So the first thing we're going to tie down is the cable coming out of the battery. Excellent. The next we're going to tie down is the bottom of the switch. Excellent. And lastly, we're going to tie down the top of the switch. This is to ensure that branches and things we might ride through are not going to snag us up. All right, so here we have our bike. All the wiring is basically contained within your normal wiring anyway. You have your left and right. And if we've done everything as expected, these lights will come on when I hit this switch. So there we go. We got 2 lights, battery, Y connector with spliced in master switch, Y connector, leads, clamps, 18-watt halogen lights, and we are good to go. All right, I will take a night video. We'll see how these compare maybe to Night Rider 650s and take a few rides with my GoPro. Thanks a lot. Have a great afternoon.